Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
Sir, I'll need you to sign this. I have to go abroad, but it won't work without your approval. He handed his form to Ren. Ren took the pen and signed the form, though he was displeased. Knock next time. Elijah forced a smile. He had no idea someone as stern as Ren would also fall for the wiles of romance. The big bad wolf's gonna gobble up Little Red Riding Hood soon. Elijah chuckled and tried to please his boss by saying, I do hope I get invited to your wedding when I come back. Have a safe trip. And be careful, Ren said. I know. I concealed who I really am, Elijah said. He picked the form up happily and left for his vacation. Scarlett and Walter came a little while later. Just seeing how her brother was healing up relieved Scarlett. Ruka chatted with Scarlett for a while. The only regret Scarlett had was that she couldn't give them a wedding right away. That would have to wait until after the election. Ruka didn't mind. As long as they were together, it didn't matter when the wedding was held. Ren refused to continue staying in the hospital when afternoon rolled around. He wanted to go home. Silas tried to stop him, but Ren insisted on going home. Being a VP was useful in this case, so Silas got him discharged despite all the hassle he had to go through. Silas was a guy, and he had experience with romance before. He was very clear why Ren insisted on resting at home. Ruka packed things up and left with him when she heard the news. Ron was wearing a comfy, dark-colored sweater and a brown coat. His usually majestic look was replaced by a Family Guy vibe. The nurses who came to pack up for him blushed when they saw Ren. They couldn't take their eyes off him. The ladies just kept dropping and toppling things. When Ren left the hospital, Ruka held the extra scarf in her hand and told him, "Lower your head." He did as he was told, and she wrapped the scarf around his neck. He didn't refuse it, even though it was overtly pink and a woman's scarf. They emerged from the underground car park and headed straight for his house. There were even more bodyguards this time. After that last attempt on Ren's life, these men had cleared any possible threats on the road. They arrived at his house a while later. The servants took care of everything, while Silas took Ren to his bedroom upstairs. I'm not stopping you from dating Ruka, but there are some things that you can't do until you're healed. Silas said, Don't tear that wound open. Not after it has finally healed. Listen to me if you don't want to go through another torture session at the hospital. Just when I thought nobody's gonna nag me after Elijah's gone, you showed up. Ren smiled. You think you can enjoy any peace and quiet after you get to this position? If you don't want it, you can always let me take over, Silas cracked a joke. Take it, Ren answered right away. Silas shook his head, smiling. No. I'm not as capable as you are. The job's gonna take 10 years off my life. Silas went and told the servants about Ren's diet during the recovery period. Ruka came to Ren's room. He was in a robe and lying under the AC. He looked languid and sexy. Come here. He extended his hand. She went to his side and sat on the edge of the bed. He pulled her into his embrace. And now, we have our alone time. Nobody's gonna disturb us. Ruka was happy he had a month of vacation. She looked forward to it. Sure. Silas came back up after he told the servants what to do. He bumped into Ruka, who just came out of Ren's room. He said, Miss Singed, a word, please? Of course, Dr. Silas, she said and listened intently. Ron shouldn't be discharged under normal circumstances, but he insisted, and I had no choice. You're going to take care of him, I know. Just remember that he can't do any strenuous exercise. Ruka blushed. He's not talking about the gym. I see. I understand. I don't want his wound to get torn again, so work with me. She pursed her lips and nodded shyly. I know. I'll remember that. All right. No cats for a while too. I'll take care of it. Silas checked the whole place and thought the cat had to go too. All right. I'll put Callie in your care. Ruka nodded. Silas went into the room and said goodbye to Rin before he left. Only 2 servants were left working in the house. The world was really quiet too, for some reason. And it's almost the new year. She went back into the bedroom. Ron was on the bed, looking bored. She asked, "Want me to get you a book? Do you think I'm in a mood to read?" Rin smiled. Ruka blinked. So what would you like then? I'd like you to spend the night in my room, Ruka, he requested. Her heart skipped a beat. She quickly said, no. Dr. Silas said I can't disturb you. And I don't want to worsen your wound. Ren cocked his eyebrow. What did Silas tell her? I don't care. You're sleeping with me tonight, he said imperiously. Fine. He's hurt. I'll give in this one time. Fine. I'll spend the night here, but you'll have to finish the soup the servant is making. It has pig liver in it. Ren really wanted to say no, but he didn't. Fine. I'll do it. That's a good boy. Food's important for his healing. Oh. Scarlett said your mother's coming over tomorrow. You'll have to pretend that you aren't hurt. Can you do that? Of course. Ren nodded. Back at the Husson residence, a servant came back with the thing Charlotte told her to buy. Don't forget to take it along with you tomorrow. This is an important thing. But Madam, Master Rin is still young. Are you sure you want to give him this? Hey, I want Ruka to get pregnant as soon as possible. She chuckled. Make sure he drinks it, and don't tell him what it is. The servant left after she cleared the table up after dinner. Ruka changed into her pajamas and shyly went into Ren's bedroom. Even when he was recuperating, Ren would check his email and settle some work on his iPad. It was already 10:30. She approached Ren and stared straight at him. Still working? You should get more sleep. Ren put the iPad aside. He could smell the nice scent coming from Ruka, and frustration flared in his eyes. She's inches away from me, but I can't even have sex with her. She got into the bed and rolled into his embrace before he could even pull her. Can't have him exerting himself, and I can't put any pressure on the wounded side of his shoulder either. Since he could only lie on his side, Ruka rested her head on his other arm, and they held each other in a tight embrace. The cold coming from outside made her enjoy his warm embrace more. He might smell like disinfectant, but she still loved it. Ron kissed her head and took in the scent of her hair. Something down there got bigger, and Ruka blushed. She felt it, of course, but Silas told her not to do anything, so she ignored the boner. Ruka, he called out to her, almost like he was complaining. Ren raised her chin and vented a little by kissing her. She was starting to heal up as well. Yeah. I'm gonna lose sleep if he's in the same bed as I am. No. At this rate, he might do it despite his wounds, and I won't be able to stop him. However, I can't just ignore what Dr. Silas said either. She scurried out of his arm and sat on the edge of the bed. I think I should get back to my room. She took a book from the couch and handed it to him. Read this if you can't sleep. Calm yourself down. It'll make you sleep better. So she's running away just like that? Ruka was gone, and Ron couldn't do anything about it. He didn't mind making out with her even with the wound, but there was something else to consider. He had to make sure her first time didn't go too badly, or it might affect how she thought of him. It would be bad if she left him for another person. Rin held his urge back, at least until he healed up a little. Ruka stayed up until about 1 before she fell asleep. She too was turned on, and sleeping was hard. They had breakfast at 9 the next morning. Charlotte and her butler came at 10. She even brought her usual chef along to make some soup for Ron. Ruka and Ron welcomed her into the house. Ron pretended that he was fine, and Charlotte didn't notice his wound. "Scarlett told me you're having a day off, so here I am. Brought something nice for you. The chef's gonna whip some soup up," Charlotte said. There was a glint of delight in her eyes. Her son was young and lively, but she was worried he might be worn out by work, so she got someone to buy all the supplements she could. By supplements, Charlotte meant aphrodisiac, and she upped the dosage too. She even came up with a herbal soup for Ruka. Charlotte believed in the power of alternative medicine, and she hoped Ruka would get pregnant soon. "Oh, you didn't have to do this, Mom. I mean, we can always make you lunch." Ren didn't want his mother to worry about him. She wasn't getting any younger. "What else can I do but this? If you love me, you're going to drink as much soup as you can. Don't let it go to waste," she said. "Of course, Mom. Of course," he assured her. "Ruka, you have as much bird's nests as you can too. It's good for you," she said. Ruka might be young, but she knew why Charlotte was doing this. She blushed, and she nodded. "Of course, Charlotte." Charlotte sniffed the air. "I smell disinfectants in the air. Is someone hurt?" "The cat scratched Run, so I put some disinfectant on the wound," Ruka quickly answered. Charlotte paused for a few moments. Oh, I bet it's not a cat scratch." She didn't really care though. All she wanted was for her son to finish the soup she brought with her today. Lunch was served a while later. It was a feast, and there were 2 pots of soup specially made for the couple. The servant took the lid off one pot and ladled a bowl of it, then she served it to Ren. Ren thought the smell was off, and he froze for a moment. "What kind of soup is this, Mom?" "Herbal soup. You work through the night every day, so I got you some nice herbs to perk you up. It's nothing extreme. Just drink it," Charlotte said seriously. Ron took a sip. It was okay. He could taste the herbs in it, but the soup was generally good. The aphrodisiac had a strong taste, but thanks to the chef's skills, they were covered. "And here's yours, Miss Singed. Have a taste." The servant served Ruka another type of soup. The clear bird's nest decorated by jujubes and wolfberries looked tantalizing. She took a sip and thought it was delicious. Charlotte kept her eye on Run throughout the meal. When she noticed that he was done with his soup, she filled his bowl up again. "Drink up. Don't let it go to waste. This soup was made just for you. Ruka and I don't like it that much." "All right." Ren did not want his mother's efforts to go to waste, so he drank 3 bowls in a row. He was too stuffed for a 4th, so Charlotte finally stopped topping up his bowl. After finishing up, Ren tried to get Charlotte to stay till dinner, but she seemed to be in some sort of rush as she declined. "I have things I need to take care of, so I'll head off now. Ruka can keep you company," Charlotte said before holding Ruka's hand. "Ruka, take good care of Run, okay? Make sure he doesn't spend all his time working. Since he's taking a break, he should spend his time with you instead." "Yes, I will, Mrs. Hassan." Ruka nodded. "Oh, hush. Don't call me Mrs. Hassan. It sounds so formal. You should start calling me Mom instead," Charlotte chuckled. She was thrilled to have such a beautiful and captivating young woman as her daughter-in-law. Ruka was a little shy, but she called out in her clear, dulcet tones. "Mom. What a sweet girl." "I'm sure Mrs. Hassan is over the moon right now," the female butler commented with a smile. Ron looked on fondly as well. Charlotte turned to leave once she finished saying her goodbyes. After seeing her off until the car drove out of the driveway, Ron exhaled in relief. He felt a tinge of soreness around his wounded area from moving his arm too much. Ruka noticed the slight frown on his face. She quickly came over and held him. "Is it painful? I'll help you up so you can rest." Ren allowed her to take him upstairs. It was blistering cold outside, but right now, as he walked into the air-conditioned environment inside, he felt unusually warm. He pulled his sweater collar down a little. Ruka helped him to the bedroom. He sat down on the bed and glanced at her svelte frame. All at once, his throat felt parched and he seemed to lose himself to his instincts as he reached out to pull her into his arms. She fell onto him and he grabbed her head before pinning her down on the bed. Ruka's mind went blank for several seconds. He's injured. He shouldn't be twisting around like that. What are you? His lips crashed into hers before she could finish her sentence. Ruka sensed his domineering aura enveloping her. It was as if he had honed in on his prey, and her heart jumped. What's gotten into him? It's still the afternoon right now. I want you. Ruka, he set her lips free and began to roam down her neck and collarbones, leaving a trail of kisses behind. Ruka's face turned scarlet. Oh my goodness. He's gone mad. Run, Ruka bit her lip and tried to push him off. She could feel her body heating up as it welcomed his touch, but she did not want his injury to get worse. However, something seemed to have gotten into Ran. His reason had been overtaken by his animal instincts, and even though he felt the tearing pain from his wound that seemed to extend to his heart, he could not care about anything else anymore. All he could think of was Ruka. He was a predator whose eyes were locked on its prey. The only goal he had right now was to quell the hunger he had for her. And no. We can't. You'll get hurt. Ruka tried to protest, but Ren had taken his top off, and his muscular body was on display. Ruka blinked. She did not know what to do. He's not listening to Dr. Silas' instructions. Ruka. I want you so bad. Ron was bent over kissing her slender neck. I'll count to 3. If you don't agree to it, then I'll stop, he gave her a final out. Ruka was just about to say no out of consideration for his injury, but before she could respond, he said, 3. Time's up. She was dumbstruck. Wasn't he supposed to count to 3? Why did he start off with 3? She did not even get a chance to say no. If he was going to give her a chance, he should do it properly. Ugh. Why is he such a beast? We can. Ren, your wound will split open. Are you trying to kill yourself? Ruka said as she tried to push him off again. However, something seemed to be in control of Ren's mind right now. It numbed all his pain receptors and left nothing but his most primal instincts in command. Ruka was right in front of him. His senses took leave of him and he could not control himself. She was too beautiful. Meanwhile, Ruka was grumbling to herself. Couldn't he have waited for a little longer? Why is he getting into it now? Ruka. I don't want to wait any longer. Now. I want you to be mine now, he pleaded and coaxed as if he was no longer the distinguished and sophisticated man he usually was. All that was left was his longing. All of a sudden, her eyes spotted a drop of blood sliding from his shoulder down to his waist. You're bleeding, Ruka exclaimed. She pushed him away and quickly checked his back. Sure enough, she saw that his wound was bleeding through the bandage. I'm calling Dr. Silas right away. Ruka rushed back to her room to retrieve her phone and immediately gave the doctor a call. Silas rushed over with a nurse in just 15 minutes. He saw that Ren was sitting on the edge of the bed in a dress robe, but his eyes were still bloodshot. He had not gotten the release he wanted, and it was beginning to make him even more out of control. The nurse quickly cleaned the wound up again, while Silas gave him a sedative. Ruka, whose heart had been pounding wildly as she watched nervously from the side, blushed when she finally realized what was going on. Silas looked at Rin in somewhat disbelief. "Don't you know what condition you're in right now? Why did you go about taking all sorts of medication? Those things won't help you when you're in this state." Rin was lost. "What did I take? What else do you think it could be?" "Aphrodisiacs, of course. They must have been pretty strong too. It's clear that you overdid it." Silas bit the nail on the head. The cogs started turning in Ren's mind. He immediately recalled the soup his mother made for him today. She even urged him to drink 3 entire bowls of it. Well, he finally realized what had gone into his mother's soup. Ren could only chuckle bitterly to himself. What was his mother worried about anyway? Did she have so little faith in her son? Her meddling had ended up backfiring instead. "He didn't take anything, though," Ruka said from the side. "My mom came and made some soup for me. I didn't know what went in it, but I drank 3 bowls of it," Ren added. Silas fell silent. He had gotten the wrong idea. It was Charlotte's well-meaning intentions that led to this mess instead. "Drink some chicken soup or something next time. You shouldn't be drinking anything with all that added to it." Silas sighed. He glanced at Ren's bleeding wound and said, "Looks like you'll have to stay in bed a few days longer." Ron threw Silas a gloomy look while Ruka seemed to have gotten the picture at last. She bit her lip as she thought, so the reason why he acted like he was out of his mind earlier was because of that soup? Alas! Charlotte could not be blamed for it either. She did not know that he was injured. Thankfully, his wound had only bled out a little without worsening his condition. Ron was also a lot calmer now after being given a shot of sedatives. Silas left after giving some instructions. Once they were gone, Ron sat down on the bed and kissed Ruka on her cheek. "Did I give you a fright just now? Could she say yes?" She looked up at him and pouted. "You were so beastly. You said you were going to count to 3, but you jumped straight to 3 right away. I didn't even have the chance to say no." Ren's eyes flashed with a cunning glint as he smirked. He never intended to give her a chance to say no. All right. I won't tease you like that next time." Ren squeezed her hand. Although he was a lot calmer now, deep down inside him, the desire he felt was still going strong.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.